Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. So about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about the New York Knicks today, man. It's a celebration for all the New York Knicks fans out there, man. Today is a day to celebrate the New York Knicks and what they've done this season, man. I'm sure you guys know, man, I was watching the game last night. The New York Knicks destroyed the Boston Celtics last night in once again, a weird lopsided game that, this is what I'm talking about. You just don't understand how the NBA goes, right? The Knicks get blown out, then they blow out the Celtics by damn near 40 points last night. The game wasn't even close, and from the second quarter on. It was just a blowout, man, of epic proportions. But shout out to the New York Knicks. They make their first Eastern Conference final since 2000. And I told you guys I was going to do a video on the Knicks if they won, but I was holding out. We didn't want to jinx it. And I'm going to do a live later tonight, or more than likely, probably around 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to do a live on the New York Knicks and just, talking about things that have been going on in the NBA over the last, week or so. But once again, this is what we're going to talk about, guys. And you guys know what the deal, man. You guys know the deal, man. Once again, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. You guys know I'm truly, truly humbled, man. It really means a lot, guys. Thank you very much, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, shout out to the New York Knicks, man. Shout out to all the New York Knicks fans out there, man, that have been, supporting the New York Knicks over the last 20 years or so, because the Knicks have been crap, guys. And I've said that many times. The Knicks have been crap. They have not been good. They just haven't been good, man. They haven't, guys. They haven't been legit contenders. They haven't been legit at all. To me, the Knicks have not been great since the 90s, guys. To me, that was the last time the Knicks were great. And I've talked many times on this channel about the Carmelo Anthony's Knicks of the 2010s, and I was not a fan of that team. I was never a fan of Carmelo Anthony and his overall game. And, to me, I just never thought the Knicks were legit contenders. Now, there were several reasons for that. We get it, right? You had the Boston Celtics, playing at that time. You had the Derrick Rose Chicago Bulls before the injury. You had LeBron James, super team Miami Heat. You know what I'm saying? So there were several reasons. But the New York Knicks of the 2010s, to me, were never a legit contender. They were never a great team. They were good, but they were never a great team. Like I said, in my opinion, the last great New York Knicks teams were in the 90s, guys. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to that. To me, the last true Knicks legend, the true Knicks superstar was Patrick Ewing, guys. Once again, that's my opinion. I do not believe Carmelo Anthony was a superstar for the New York Knicks. I do not believe he's a New York Knicks legend. Now, some people might argue with me against that, and that's great. We all can believe what we want. But to me, Patrick Ewing was the last New York Knicks legend. True New York Knicks legend was Patrick Ewing, guys. All right? So, when we think about the New York Knicks over the last couple of years, right? Last year and this season, that was the first time, I believe last year was the first year that the New York Knicks had been to the second round in consecutive seasons. So it was a big accomplishment what the Knicks did last year. I mean, that's how bad the Knicks have been, guys. They haven't made the second round in consecutive playoffs in years. In years. That's right, the Carmelo Anthony Knicks. They weren't getting it past the second round. They never made a conference finals, those teams. So, I've told you guys many times, I do not believe this Knicks team is a great team. I think they're really good, though. And they've impressed me, man. And I really want to say something, man. Shout out to Jalen Brunson, man, for the way that he played in this series, man. I've not been a true believer of Jalen Brunson, not of his game. I think his game is great. I think what he does really good, man, right? For what he does. Outstanding. But I've told you guys, I do not believe that he will be able to lead the Knicks to a championship. I've been saying that. Now I don't know. Now maybe he can. Because I really don't believe that there's any great teams in the NBA. So if the Knicks are, in the Eastern Conference Finals, which they are, I don't think the Indiana Pacers are some great team that's unbeatable. And listen, guys, I don't want to get too far off topic here, but I don't think that OKC looks that great. I've been watching the OKC Thunder in this Nugget series. And I'll be honest, guys. To me, the Nuggets look like a better team than Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll be honest. I just don't even see how the OKC won 68 games this season. I just don't see that think that they're formidable. They just don't look that formidable to me. So anyway, to me, the Knicks can go all the way. They have a chance, a legit shot, I think, to win a championship. I'm not going to get too carried away here. You have a long way to go. The Pacers are a very good team, man, and they're very deep, man. I told you that's my dad's team. He's rooting, which is really crazy right now because we are Knicks fans, you know what I'm saying? But my dad likes Tyrese Halliburton, man, and this is his team right now. So it's going to be really interesting. We have the New York Knicks versus the Pacers. And the rivalry continues, guys. All right, now what the Knicks have done over the last couple of years is really good. This was their first consecutive 50-win seasons in a long time, guys. They haven't won back-to-back 50-win seasons, I think, since like 1994 and 95, I want to say. Or I'm trying to think. They had 5 seasons in a row, guys, of 50 wins in the 90s. That's how good the Knicks were in the 90s, guys. These guys were good. But they're back-to-back 50-win seasons, like I said, for the first time in like a long time, guys. Like I said, since the mid-90s. So it's an accomplishment what the Knicks are doing, winning games, trying to remain competitive and consistent. But during this regular season, like I told you, I was very frustrated with the New York Knicks this season because like I mentioned in a previous videos, the up and down of the NBA season. So the Knicks look really good, right, against one team, and then the next week they'll come out, the next game they'll come out, and they'll look horrible. The Knicks often play down to the competition. That's one of the things I knows about them this year that was frustrating me. Like I said, just the lack of consistency. Now, yes, they won 50 whatever games they won this year, 51 games or something like that they won this season, which is great for the Knicks. But to me, the Eastern Conference, the NBA as a whole, wasn't that strong. So the wins that they've gotten doesn't necessarily show and prove that they're a really formidable or great team. To me, the Knicks took a step back defensively during the regular season. But in the postseason, in the playoffs so far, the Knicks defense has looked very stout. They've looked very consistent on the defensive end, man. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. All these guys are hustling out there on the basketball court, man. Like I said, they're doing all the hustle stuff, doing all the little things to win. Because you have to do all the little things to win. And you have someone like Jalen Brunson closing these games out. Like I said, Jalen Brunson has been sensational, man. So much respect to Jalen Brunson and what he's done out there, especially in this series, I said against the Boston Celtics, man, where he was just special out there, especially in the closing moments of those first several games, where it came down to the last second shots. But, so anyway, so now, like I said, we were going to do a video. We want to talk about the New York Knicks making their first Eastern Conference Finals, guys, since the 2000 season. The Knicks haven't been to an NBA Finals since 1999. So for a lot of these New York Knicks fans, for a lot of people out here, they've never even seen the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. They've never seen this before. Like I told you guys, they don't even realize how formidable the Knicks used to be because the Knicks have become a laughingstock now, the NBA, over the last, 10, 15 years. They're mired in mediocrity. So like I said, the last couple of years, they've been a little bit decent. Like I said, they've made the second round in consecutive seasons for the first time in a long time. So what they've been doing, it has to take, we have to take notice of this. All right. But at the same time, I told you I wasn't going to do videos on the Knicks this season on purpose because the last time I got hyped up for the Knicks and I did a video saying the Knicks have a chance to make their first Eastern Conference Finals, they went out and lost every other game after that. So I was like, no, we ain't going to talk about the Knicks. I'm not going to jinx the Knicks. We're not going to get too high on the Knicks. We're going to wait and see with the Knicks. And I see a lot of New York Knicks fans out there. They were getting carried away. They were getting crazy out there. And I wasn't really on board with this stuff, man. But I guess they were right. And I picked the Knicks to lose this series 4-1. And I told you guys I was kind of joking, trying to do a little bit of reverse psychology, on the Knicks, picking them to lose in 5 games. But I did not really think the Knicks were going to beat the Celtics, guys. I did not believe that. If I had to gamble money on it, which I don't do, but if I had to bet money on it, I probably would have bet on the Celtics. If I did bet on the Knicks, it would have just been me being a New York homer and just picking the Knicks because I'm from New York. I wouldn't have been picking them based off of any analytical evidence or, any kind of thing that I've noticed in the film that would, give me a reason to believe the Knicks could beat the Celtics, 4 times in a 7-game series. And once again, if we really are clear and honest and we remember the games, like I said, I watched most of not every single game, but I watched probably 5 of the 7 games in totality. Those first couple of games, the Celtics just gave those games up. They were up by 20 in both of those games. and they ended up losing in the closing seconds, allowing the Knicks to destroy them in the fourth quarters of those games, right? Chucking up threes when you're up by 20. Why are you doing this? So I think we can all be honest and say the Knicks should not have won that series or won those first couple of games. The Celtics kind of gave it up, but also we give credit to the Knicks for never giving up, for continuing this. Because what I saw from the Celtics last night was someone like Jaylen Brown quitting. I don't know if you guys realize, this dude Jaylen Brown, I'm probably going to do a separate video on this clown. This dude Jaylen Brown, who, remember in the first round against the Orlando Magic, was complaining about the Orlando Magic's physicality. Remember, he was complaining about that after the game that they had lost. This dude crying and moaning. And then the next game, they got a bunch of free throws and foul calls in their favor. But anyway, Jaylen Brown fouled out yesterday's game with like 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, guys. This dude fouled out the game. And I'm watching this, and I'm like, did this dude really he quit. He sabotaged himself. He fouled himself out on purpose to get out the game. That's what he did last night. So you're not a true competitor, man. You're not going to go out there and represent for the Boston Celtics tradition and really go out there and give it your all. Remember, the Knicks came back from 20 down in those first couple of games. They never gave up. They kept playing and kept hustling. And the Celtics gave them the games, right? The Knicks were hustling. The Celtics weren't, and they lost. That wasn't the case last night. The Celtics were down by 40 points at one point, over 40 points at one point during this game last night, guys. It was a complete embarrassment, and this goes for more of the same what we've been talking about this year. So Jaylen Brown fouls out of the game in the third quarter. Like I said, the Celtics just essentially just quit. And like I said, they end up losing by, 39 points or something like that. I think it was like 119-81, the score. So once again, almost a 40-point loss. Remember, I did a video a couple days ago, and I said there have been more 30-point losses in the playoffs this year than overtime games. Well, guess what, guys? You add another one to that chapter of another 30-plus point loss handed out by another team. And like I said, it's the up and down, the unpredictability of this stuff. They're very inconsistent. The Knicks just got blown out, and I was disgusted with the Knicks' performance in Game 5. They just got blown off the court, and then the next game, you blow them off the court. It doesn't make sense, man. That's why it's hard for you to predict who's going to win. I talked about the Denver Nuggets the other day in that same video. The Denver Nuggets have been blown out twice by 30 or more this postseason, and they have a chance to be the NBA champions this year. But they're going to have 2 30-point blowouts on their resume during the playoffs? It's crazy when you think about that. So the up and down of the NBA playoffs, the inconsistent nature of these teams, like the balance is just way out of whack sometimes. Now, in that game last night, like I said, the New York Knicks, man, were sensational. The defense for the Knicks in this playoffs has been really good, man. They've stepped up the defense, and that's going to be the key against the Indiana Pacers, because the Indiana Pacers have a very deep team, right? They have a very deep team. You're talking about guys like Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, what's the other guy's name? Miles Turner, Mathurin, Nimehard, I think his name is. You have Obi Toppin coming off the bench, T.J. McConnell. Like, you just got some players on that team, man. They're a very deep team, man. And a lot of the guys that they have are athletic, rangy, active. You know what I'm saying? These guys are going to be a tough matchup for the Knicks. Now, once again, the rivalry continues. We're going to have an Indiana Pacers versus New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a rivalry continued, guys. I went back and I looked into the 90s stuff, because the 90s, the Knicks and the Pacers had a huge rivalry. I mean, just think about it, guys. The Knicks had several rivalries in the 90s. You had the rivalry with the Chicago Bulls. We all know that. But you had the rivalry with the Indiana Pacers, Reggie Miller, right? Spike Lee, right? You had that rivalry going. Patrick Ewing and Rick Smits and Antonio Davis and Charles Oakley and, right, John Starks and all these guys. Right? You had that rivalry going over the years in the 90s. But the Knicks also had a rivalry with the Miami Heat towards the mid to late 90s, right? We're talking about that big brawl. Remember that big fight? I think that was 1997 that the Knicks and Heat got to that big brawl. Those guys got suspended, right? So there was a bunch of rivalries there. The Knicks even had a little bit of a rivalry with the Detroit Pistons in the late 80s into the early 90s. The Detroit Pistons, not only were they knocking the Chicago Bulls out of the playoffs some of those years, they were also knocking the New York Knicks out of the playoffs some of those years. And I remember when the Knicks finally got past the Detroit Pistons, I believe that was in 1992. They beat the Detroit Pistons, I believe it was in the first round in a 5-game series, 3-2. And that was the first time the Knicks had beat the Pistons in the playoffs, right? So it was a thing there. They've had rivalries. And the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks, guys, they played each other 5 times in the 90s. 5 separate occasions they matched up in the playoffs. This is going to be the Pacers and the Knicks 2 years in a row, consecutive years in a row. Remember last year, they played in the second round and the Knicks lost in 7 games. And to me, the Knicks should have beaten the Pacers last year, but the injuries got them, right? The Pacers were healthy, the Knicks were not healthy, and the Pacers got them in 7 games. Remember, the Knicks were up 3-2, and they lost the final 2 games. This year, the Knicks have home court advantage. So, to me, the Knicks are healthy right now. Knock on wood, you never know with someone like Jalen Brunson, someone like Mitchell Robinson, who's just made of glass. I mean, my God, every time I see Mitchell Robinson run up and down the court and fall down or take a hit, I'm like, this guy's done. And last night I thought he was hurt again. Like 3 times I thought this guy was done. And Mitchell Robinson is a key member for the New York Knicks. He's going to go out there and give you 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. He's going to hustle out there. He's just a goofy-looking dude to me, Mitchell Robinson, man. But he does what he's supposed to do. He plays his role, man. He does his job out there. But the Knicks got some frail guys. OG Anunoby is frail, right? They just got some guys that get hurt. Karl Anthony Towns, a.k.a. Gumby. I call him Gumby because that's the way his body moves. He's like all rubbery out there, right? He just moves weird. His legs are like jello and stuff, man. He has like no muscle. Like he's just a weird dude, Karl Anthony Towns. And he played good last night, thank God, because where the hell's he been at? They're going to need Karl Anthony Towns to be much better to have a chance to get past the Indiana Pacers and win a championship. You can't have Karl Anthony Towns out there scoring 16 points, 17 points. You can't have that. Karl Anthony Towns needs to be putting up 30-point games alongside Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson's literally carrying Karl Anthony Towns, man. Like the other guys are picking up the slack. Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. Like these guys are picking up the slack for someone like Karl Anthony Towns out there, man. Out there lollygagging. So they played the Indiana, I wrote this down. They played the Indiana Pacers 5 different occasions, guys, in the 90s. And I believe 2 of those occasions came in the Eastern Conference Finals. 1994, the Knicks beat the Pacers in a 7-game series. Remember that. To make their first NBA Finals in 1994. Then in 1995, the Knicks played the Pacers. They lost, I believe, in the second round. Then the Pacers lost to the Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals that year. Then in 1999, when the Knicks made the NBA Finals, they beat the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, right? So these are all the kinds of things that we have to remember. 5 different occasions the Knicks and the Pacers matched up. That's the same amount of times as the Knicks and the Bulls played in the 90s. Right? And I've told you guys many times, we all know about the rivalry between the Knicks and the Bulls. 5 different occasions. And the only time that they beat the Chicago Bulls was 1994 when Michael Jordan was not there. But they lost in 1991. They lost in 1992. They lost in 1993. And then they lost again in 1996 when they played the Chicago Bulls in the semifinal. So that's 4 different occasions they lost, and they beat them once in 94. So there was a rivalry with the Bulls, but there was also a big-time rivalry with the Indiana Pacers. And now this rivalry is going to continue. You have Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton as the best players on their respective teams. And this is what we're talking about. This is what we want to see, man. We want to see rivalries. We want to see competitiveness. We want to see these guys go out there and hustle. We want to see them playing with the love of the game. So much respect to the New York Knicks, man, for going out there, getting it done, man. Not folding up, hanging on 4-2 over the defending champion Boston Celtics. Even with Jason Tatum out, the Boston Celtics are still a very good team. They're still stacked. They have so much talent. I don't even know why people are trying to make excuses for the Boston Celtics for not having Jason Tatum. Yes, Jason Tatum is a very good player, but you still had very good players on that team. You had Jaylen Brown. You got Porzingis. You got Al Horford, right? You got Derek White. You got the 6th man of the year, Pritchard, right? You have all these guys on the team contributing. So I was not feeling sorry for the Celtics, and I was worried that the Knicks were going to kind of, take them lightly because Tatum wasn't there. You can't do that. And that's what it looked like they did in Game 5, but I was glad that they bounced back last night, and they showed up, man, and they did what they had to do. Madison Square Garden was nuts last night. There were so many people in the crowd. I saw John Starks there and Larry Johnson. I saw Bernard King there. I saw Walt Frazier. We just talked about Walt Frazier, but much respect to the new legend, Walt Frazier. I saw Walt Frazier there, man. All the people were there, man, doing their thing. I saw celebrities. Ben Stiller was there. And, I just saw a bunch of people in the crowd. Like I said, that's the way Madison Square Garden used to be back in the 90s, man, when the Knicks were a formidable, legit basketball team. They weren't a laughingstock of the NBA like they've been over the last 10 or 15 years. And like I said, when you think about the New York Knicks and what they were doing in the 90s, guys, I know I keep going back to the 90s, but it's very important that we put perspective of what the Knicks did in the 90s. And this is why I tell you guys, That's why I was waiting to see and holding out on, because I've seen the great Knicks teams. Now, obviously, I did not see the all-time great Knicks teams of the 70s. That was before my time. But the Knicks teams in the 90s, they did not win a championship, and we get that. But that's mostly due to going against a team like the Chicago Bulls year after year after year in your own conference, having to battle these guys. To me, the New York Knicks could have won multiple championships in the 90s had Michael Jordan not been there, or had Michael Jordan not raised his level of play the way that he did. All right, that was the key there. Michael Jordan didn't play mediocre basketball and the Knicks couldn't beat him. Michael Jordan played all-world basketball, right? All-time great basketball. That's why the Knicks couldn't beat them. It wasn't like Michael Jordan was out there averaging 22 points a game, you know what I'm saying, and just playing okay. He was great. He had to be great to beat those teams. So I want you to think about it. The Knicks had 5 seasons of 50 or more wins in the 90s, guys, right? To me, when I looked at, that's the best stretch of any era of the New York Knicks. Remember, the New York Knicks are an original franchise, guys, from 1947. They're one of the original franchises. So they've been around since the beginning. They have a long, rich tradition. Now, once again, the Knicks haven't won anything since 1973. So it's been a very, 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 very long time since they won a championship, right? They won 2 championships in the 70s, 1970, 1973. The last time that the Knicks won 60 games was 1993. They have not won 60 games since 1993, guys. They haven't even sniffed it. In the 90s, they had 5 seasons in a row of 50 or more games, or 50 or more wins, guys. 5 seasons in a row from 1990, was that 1992, 93, 94, 95, maybe it's 90, yeah, and I think in 96. 5 straight seasons of 50 or more wins. They haven't had anything like that since. Nothing like that since, guys. As a matter of fact, they've only had 4 seasons of 50 or more wins since 1999. So, over the last 25 seasons, they've had 4 teams, or 4 times they won 50 or more games. But just in the 90s alone, they had 5 seasons of 50 or more wins, guys. And remember, this was a very balanced Eastern Conference. This wasn't a trash East. They're going against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You're going against the Atlanta Hawks. You're going against the Chicago Bulls. You're going against the Boston Celtics. You're going against the Detroit Pistons. Right? You're going against the Indiana Pacers. You're going against the Miami Heat. You're going against the Orlando Magic. These are some very good teams, man. This is what Knicks were going against throughout the early to mid to late 90s. So this shows you how formidable and good the Knicks were in the 90s compared to over the last 25 years. Not even close. Once again, you had great head coaches like Pat Riley, Jeff Van Gundy there. Tom Thibodeau, he's not of that ilk, but he's a very good coach. Last night, I was getting a little concerned. I posted, get Jalen Brunson out the game. This dude had Brunson in the game with like 5 minutes to go with the Knicks up like 40. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here? Get Brunson out the damn game. The last thing the Knicks needed last night was to have OG Anunoby out there, Karl Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and these guys go down with a rolled ankle or some stupid injury that there was no need for him to get because you had this dude in the game. So Tom Thibodeau he was driving some of us crazy last night when I'm watching the game. I'm like, dude, please get the guy the game because Jalen Brunson is known for having injury problems. We don't need him getting hurt with the Knicks up by 40. But once again, it worked out okay. So shout out to New York Knicks again. Like I said, guys, the rivalry continues. Pacers versus Knicks. Knicks got the home court advantage. It's going to be very interesting. The Knicks, to me, this could easily be a series where the home team wins every game. I could see going 7 games and the home team winning every game. The Knicks, they got to be really good at MSG. The Knicks got to bring back that home court, man. That was the thing about the Knicks in the 90s. MSG was a home court advantage there. They were tough at home. I told you in 1993, I forgot they won like 27 games in a row at home between the regular season and the playoffs at one point. They were very formidable at Madison Square Garden. That's what they need. They got to bring back that level of intimidation, that level of home court advantage. They got to bring that back, and they need it in this series, man. So maybe we'll get to see Patrick Ewing and Reggie Miller out there in the stands at some of these games. You know, maybe we can see some of these guys, you know, come together. And like I said, it's just really interesting, you know, that the Knicks and the Pacers are matching up again. Remember, the 2nd year in a row now that they're going against the Pacers. And like I said, the 90s, that was a big-time rivalry, man. You guys know the deal, man. Shout out to the New York Knicks, man. I'm gonna go live again. I'm gonna go live tonight, guys, on the New York Knicks, man. It's good. It's just like I said, it's just something special right now. It's going on. The Knicks haven't been to Eastern Conference Finals in a long time, and like I said, they have a legit shot to make the NBA Finals, guys. We're not gonna get too far ahead of ourselves and say that they can win the championship. I saw Stephen A. Smith or someone saying that on ESPN last night. It might have been Kendrick Perkins saying that he believes the Knicks are championship contenders now. And like I said, to me, there are no great teams in the NBA. The Knicks are, to me, are just as good as any of the teams I've seen. Like, that I've watched them play. Not saying that your wins, losses, and the names on the back of the jersey, the personnel, the roster. But to me, when I watch the Knicks play these first couple of rounds, especially in the season against Boston, their defense has been really good. And Jalen Brunson's been really good. Bridges has been really good. OG Anunoby's been really good. Josh Hart's been really good. Karl Towns has been okay. They have a chance, man, but I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself and worry about that. You got to get past the Pacers first, because the Pacers are going to be a very good team. And the way that they dismantled the Cavaliers, man, that shows you how good these guys are. And they're playing really good. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's not necessarily that your team is just better than the other team. It's the way that you guys are playing at the time, right? We think about that a lot, as it pertains to like football, right? Because football is a one and done type of deal. So, you'll talk about it in the NFL, like a team gets hot towards the end of the season. They could be hard to beat. Even if they're not better than the other team, they're playing at a very high level right now. So things are just clicking for them at the right time. The same thing can happen in basketball. Your team could just be clicking at the right time. Sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, the team reached their peak in the middle of the season. I think that's what happened with the Cleveland Cavaliers. They peaked in the regular season, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They weren't playing their best basketball, plus they had some injuries, and that messed them up. So the Knicks, to me, look like they're starting to play, consistent, really good basketball. But so do the Pacers, man. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this next round. But shout out to the New York Knicks. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.